Hi, my name is Problem Child, and I'm about to a review on the movie Cuties. Going into this, I feel like it's not going to be quite as bad as people are saying. I've heard some people call it softcore child porn. I don't think that's true. I have a really big feeling that most of the coverage of this is mainly to drum up outrage and, to get more clicks on articles, get more clicks on videos. I've heard what this movie is at its core is a movie about child exploitation and how children are too sexualized in today's media. So I'm willing to give this movie the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to record myself watching it, and if anything particularly egregious happens, I'll be able to put in my reactions to it. I'm hoping nothing really happens. I'm hoping, it's not as bad as everyone says. But with all that said, I guess I'm going to fire up my VPN, set my location to California. I'm sure that's where most of this movie's demographic lives anyway. And I'll be back in a second with my thoughts.
Has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. ID tag soldiers carry ID tagged weapons, use ID tag gear. Nanomachines inside their bodies enhance and regulate their abilities. Genetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. Has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control. All in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed.
What the fuck? I don't think I've actually had a harder time watching a movie than I have this one. I actually had to take about 4 breaks to get through it. I honestly don't even want to talk about it at this point. I just want to drink the memory of this horrible movie away and forget that it even exists. But much like the first time you see a dead body in person, this movie is etched into your psyche like a giant scar that not even the strongest alcohol will be able to wash away. And since I'm going to have to remember it, I might as well at least put my pain to good use and tell people, do not watch this movie. Just do not. It is exactly as bad as you think it is. It's even worse in some spots. There are no redeeming qualities to it. The English dub on top of the French language is horrible. I've seen better dubbing in Godzilla movies. The dialogue is stilted. The cinematography, I don't even know if I can critique the cinematography because I kept feeling like I had to look away every 10 minutes because every 10 minutes it seemed like the cameraman was trying to ram a camera up an 11-year-old's ass. Alright, I'm going to take a long pull off this bottle and then we're going to get into this review. Alright, so this movie focuses on a little girl named Amy, or Ami, I'm not really sure. It's said both ways by a lot of the characters in the movie. I'm not sure which it's supposed to be, so I'm just going to play it safe and call her Amy. It's more simple that way. Amy is an 11-year-old little girl who is shown to be mostly normal. She's growing up in a strict religious family. She lives in the house with her mom, her aunt, her younger brother. And her father is currently away in another country and is coming back soon with a woman he plans to make his second wife. And it pretty much goes on like this for a little while. Just Amy's normal day-to-day life until she meets another 11-year-old little girl named Angelica, or Angie for short. In the laundry room of her apartment building, she watches Angie dance around, which is probably the least sexual dance in the movie, to be honest. She then later runs into Angie's friends out in the real world, around school and stuff, and Angie's friends bully her relentlessly to the point of even throwing a rock at her and splitting her forehead open. But then, I don't know when it's supposed to be, that day, a few days later, I don't know. Angie then comes running up to Amy in the hallway and needs help hiding from her brother. Amy then hides Angie in her apartment. They start to talk. They start to become friends. Angie shows Amy some dance videos of these girls called the Sweetie Swags on the internet. And in the video, one of the girls pulls her shirt up to expose her bare chest, and there's a lot of debate on what's actually happening in that scene. Some people say the girl in the video is supposed to be 11. Some people say she's supposed to be about 18, 19. So I'm not really sure. I hope she's 18 or 19, because I really hope I didn't see an 11-year-old's tit. Angie then tells Amy about her friends and the dance competition they're going to be in and all this, and Amy starts to use her stolen cell phone to practice dancing in the bathroom. And when she meets Angie and her friends the next day in school, they talk her into trying to film a boy that they call Toilet Time peeing, so they can see a picture of his, and I quote, thing. He yells, "Are you trying to record my dick?" The recording doesn't go over so hot. She apparently just records his feet. So then Angie invites Amy to come watch them dance and record them with the stolen cell phone. And when she shows up, all the girls start making fun of her for being flat, like an 11-year-old. Then there's like this weird scene where each and every one of the other little girls slaps Amy on the butt and tries to jiggle it. So then Amy records them dancing. She does a good enough job to where she gets invited back to one of the girls in the group's house. They then get on a laptop and go on a webcam chat site, and they find a random guy, and they start they tell him their camera's broken, but then they start like trying to coax him into like cyber sex. I'm not sure who, but one of them turns on the camera. The guy sees that they're like 11 and tells them that they're just little girls, they shouldn't be on the site. To which Angie, being confronted with reality, has a massive bitch fit and shit whips the laptop across the room. And the little girls whose house it is, her mom comes in and wants to know what's wrong, and all the girls that aren't the little girl that lives there leave. So the next day at school, Angie and the girl that got a laptop thrown across the room get into an actual fist fight, which means that the girl that got her laptop thrown has to leave the group. And then we cut to a scene of Angie being sad that they're not going to be making the competition now because that girl's gone. Amy says, "Well, what about me? Can I dance in it?" Angie says, "I don't have enough time to teach you the routine." And then we go into that typical talent show plot thing where, "Oh, but I already know the routine." And this is where the movie decides, fuck it, it's just gonna go for broke. Amy then starts dancing for Angie to show she's good enough to be in the dance group. And she does like this weird sexual dance. And I don't know if I forgot to mention this or not, but in the last dance scene where all the other girls, they all like practice Ehigo girl faces. Like they stick their tongues out and like drip saliva and all that. Well, Angie decides the dance isn't good enough, so Amy starts humping the floor and sucking her thumb while doing the Ehigo girl face. And it's just absolutely gross. And I hate it. I hate it so much. I fucking hate it. Then there are a couple more scenes of Amy practicing dancing in her bathroom with a phone she stole. Then we jump to a scene of the kids going shopping with Amy's mom's credit card. And a group of girls get hit on by some 14-year-old boys. All the girls are lying about their ages until Amy says they're actually 11, which makes all her friends mad, makes the boys go away and leave. And at this point in the movie, I'm just not okay at all. But they decide that Amy's okay and she just made a mistake, and then they all do a dance routine while filming it again. And I'm trying my best to not die. And then the cameraman and then the little girl starts spraying their legs, and the cameraman runs up to it really fast towards their crotches. I'm not gonna lie, I skipped to the end of the scene because it made me so uncomfortable and I had bile building up in the back of my throat. And since I've only rage puked once or twice in my entire life, I'd like to keep it that way. So if there's a more egregious thing that happens in the scene, I'm sorry, but I don't know about it. So then Amy goes home and starts to cook for her father's wedding, but it takes a while and she winds up being late to the audition for the dance competition. And she is locked out of the room where she can see her friends dancing, but she can't make it in there. Her friends get mad. She tells them they did a beautiful dance. They say she didn't even see it. She starts to cry. Angie takes her word for it. They all make up. And then they all decide to go to a nightclub and they start dancing again. And I'm trying to remember if the razor is supposed to go up the tracks or across, and then I am saved by the sound of a male voice yelling, and it turns out to be the bouncer of the nightclub trying to get the literal children to leave the building. All the girls start trying to Me Too him by yelling pedophile, pervert, and saying that he's assaulting them, and just random things like this. Until the man's boss comes over, and it turns into this big drug out ordeal about the guys from nightclubs just calling the cops and letting the cops sort it out. And then suddenly, the girls get a message from the dance competition saying they've been accepted, and all the girls start screaming and they start apologizing, telling the guy, just let us leave, we'll never come back again. If you call the cops now, we'll never be in the competition. So the guys just let them go, and the girls just leave and continue to scream. Then we go to a scene in Amy's house, and her brother / cousin, wherever he is, finds out that she has stolen his phone, and he wants it back, but she says she needs it. He says no, so she starts undressing, like pulling off like her jacket, and like she starts to lift her shirt, and I'm gritting my teeth, hoping to God this isn't going to turn into like some Jeffrey Epstein level ish. Her brother / cousin, wherever he is, shoves her backwards into a wall and says, "What's wrong with you?" and snatches the phone from her hand. But then she runs up and yanks the phone out of his hands, runs into the bathroom, pulls down her pants, takes a picture of her vagina, uploads it to social media, and gives the phone back to her brother, cousin, whatever he is. And at this point, I thought she was going to use that to blackmail him. But no, we just skipped to a different scene, which is presumably the next day in class. And as she's walking up to the chalkboard to do an answer, a little boy slaps her on the butt and calls her slut. Her response is to go full John Wick and stab the boy with a pencil, which then ends that scene to go into my favorite scene in the whole movie, where her mom starts laying Ric Flair level slaps across her face. Finally, yes, beat her ass. Like oh my God. But then it goes in this weird scene where her family tries to do some sort of exorcism on her to make her stop acting like an 11-year-old Cardi B. So now they're doing an exorcism to, I guess, exorcise the hoe out of her. I'm not really sure what's going on. I didn't know you could exorcise the hoe out of somebody. Like, I didn't know Muslims had thought be gone. Oh God, that would have been great for my ex-girlfriend. And I was laughing at the scene until she started twerking and I noticed she was wearing a white tank top. Then all the funny stopped because I then noticed it turned like this weird 11-year-old wet t-shirt competition. And it just made me even more uncomfortable. But then we get a scene where she meets up with her friends and they don't want to be her friends anymore because of the picture she posted on social media that made the group look bad. And she tries to dance, nobody will dance with her. She leaves, it skips to the next day at school, where we see Amy being replaced by the friend that left the group in the beginning of the movie, who is now seen throwing up in the bathroom as if she's bulimic, but it's never touched on again. So now we're just going to kind of yada yada our way to the day of the dance competition because I can't be bothered with the rest of it. So yeah, we're at the day of the dance competition, which is also the day of her father's wedding. So she gets dressed to go to the competition and ambushes the other girl she's been replaced with and pushes her into a canal. And I'm pretty sure the girl died because it looks like she couldn't swim from the way the movie shot. She just like flails around in the water while Amy watches. And it just continues to show the girl flail around. And Amy just leaves. Holy shit. Okay, so she pushed the girl in the water and the girl apparently can't swim. And she's just gonna stand there and fucking watch her die. And goes to the competition. And then she convinces her friends to let her dance with them. They agree. Then this is where the most uncomfortable thing in the movie is. This dance routine was just horrible. And seeing it made me feel like I needed several showers. It was everything disgusting about the movie. All the other dance routines combined into one. I came into this movie thinking calling it softcore child porn was probably an overreaction, but no, this dance routine solidified that. And the worst part is, Amy starts to cry in the middle of the dance routine because she's missing her father's wedding. And so she quits halfway through the dance to run home, which, good thing, I don't have to watch the dance no more. And her aunt calls her a slut. Her mom finally sticks up for her and tells her aunt to leave her alone. Then tells Amy she doesn't have to go to the wedding. So Amy changes clothes and just goes outside and plays jump rope with some other kids. Which means at this point, this movie is for nothing. This little girl debased herself to end up back where she started. For nothing. This movie was for nothing. There is no one in this movie ever really condemns her for it other than having like a gross look on their face. Which, yeah. But it means this entire movie happened for no reason. At all. It doesn't address her stabbing a kid with a pencil. It doesn't address her murdering a girl in a canal. It doesn't even mention that what she done was wrong. And then the movie tries to imply that the reason she was acting this way was because she was upset over her father marrying another woman, which there are only two things that might kind of hint to that in the movie. One where she hides under her mom's bed and listens to her mom make a phone call. And two, earlier in the movie, they're talking about their biggest dreams. and she wishes her dad wouldn't come back. But seeing as that could have been for any number of reasons, it honestly feels like someone just wanted to make a controversial movie and then later tag on that had a message about child exploitation and the sexualization of children. It's ridiculous to say that you're going to make a movie about something bad and then do the very thing. Like, that's like saying your movie is about how bad murder is and then making a snuff film. And then to make things worse, the people defending this movie are saying that it's just right-wing outrage. My God, mate. You've got some gems in that bunch. They're either completely delusional or outright dishonest. Because if you watch even 30 minutes of this movie, you can see exactly what it is and who it is made for. And the fact that Netflix decides to release it, there are so many pedophile allegations coming out of Hollywood and the entire entertainment industry as a whole. It seems a little bit like a taunt, honestly. I don't know, man. Like, there's this big debate going around whether or not Cuties should be banned, and I've always said that a person should be able to do, say, or make whatever they want, as long as it doesn't infringe on the rights of another person. Because once you ban or censor something, you're only one step closer to book burnings. But there's a reason that actual CP is banned. It infringes on the rights of the children in it because the child doesn't have the mental faculties or the cognitive abilities to consent to such actions or understand how the repercussions of these things will affect them in the long term. And plus at that age, you don't really question adults. They just always have authority, and you just tend to believe whatever they say, and you do whatever they tell you to do. I'm willing to bet that when these actresses are in their 20s, this will be something they'll look back on, and they will be ashamed of, and they will feel as if they were exploited. So I'm going to go ahead and say, for the first time in my life, fuck, I think this movie should be banned. For the reasons I just laid out. For the fact that it is actual child exploitation. This is the one and only thing I've ever said should be banned. Usually I don't go in for the whole think of the children argument, but we live in a time now where parenting your children is just people plopping their kids down with a tablet and letting their kids go through YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, and all these streaming services. And then the parent just goes and sits in the corner on their phone and talks about how hard it is to be a parent. And it's very easy for a kid to come across this. Look at Amy and her friend's behavior in the movie and think that this is cool to act like this. And I swear to God, somewhere Jack Thompson just got a hard on for me saying that. Anyway, I've explained the plot to this movie. I guess this is a proper review. This seems to have gone on for about 20 minutes now. Another thing I'd like to mention is this article I found about how people hating on this movie is just hating on a black woman director. And I've noticed that I've noticed that Netflix has changed the movie poster from the original pedophile bait to Amy and Angie sitting in a dryer together to now it is two black girls hugging, which in the movie, Amy hardly ever has anything to actually say, let alone even to the other black girl. So it's very obvious what they're trying to do. They're trying to get in front of this thing and make it into like a race issue or a sex issue instead of just, not showing 11-year-old girls in skimpier outfits than I've seen rap girls or music video girls in. Amy hardly interacts with anybody in this movie. For the most part, she is a robot standing and staring blankly at the other girls or at other people until dancing starts happening and then she starts dry humping the fucking ground. But I don't know. I guess I've rambled long enough. I've cover the entire plot of the movie. I don't really want to talk about this anymore. If there's anything I forgot to add, let me know in the comments. Or hell, if you just hate the way my voice sounds, let me know that in the comments as well. This movie. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do a one-legged chicken dance on your mom's grave. I don't know what all YouTubers are supposed to ask these days. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave and call Invictus and ask him why the podcast we recorded isn't out yet. Goodbye. Hey Invictus, why haven't you released the other podcast? Don't give me that shit. I know you've had time to edit it. I know you've had the time. I don't care. That's our George Bush podcast. Yeah. We got George Bush on somehow, and he fucking admitted it. He admitted it. We could change the political landscape, and you're afraid to release it, dude. Like I told you, there are two sides to every war crime. Let the people hear them out. Just release the episode. You're the only one with the audio. Release it. Just fucking release the episode, man. I don't want to hear your excuse. Just release the episode.